Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. De Qin. Diary writing becomes stronger, they are not right. Traveling through the Great Qin, he became the son of King Zhuangxiang of Qin, Ying Zichu, and the third brother of King Zheng of Qin. Ying Che was bound to the Dao Diary system. Ahem. Write a diary. A serious person who writes a diary. It's funny. Oh, there are rewards. It's okay then. I love writing diaries the most. Just, what Ying Che didn't expect was that, I've been traveling for only 2 days now, and everything is a bit off. What kind of ghost is Yan Dan Go Lan Ting Chu abandoned? What kind of ghost is Yan Lingji who came knocking on her door voluntarily? Something's wrong. They're not right. However, Ying Che never expected that. De Qin is actually just the beginning. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Prince of Qin, Ying Che. 1/5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. De Qin, to the east of Xianyang City, Gongzi Mansion, the night is already deep, the mansion is quiet, apart from the guards still guarding the Gongzi Mansion, there was no trace of anyone in the mansion. A handsome boy of 16 or 17 years old, dressed in a black middle coat, lay quietly on the bed. Not long after, the young man suddenly opened his eyes and felt a piercing pain in his mind, with a large amount of memories surging in his mind. Hiss. It hurts so much. After a long time, the boy finally recovered, feeling the memories floating in my mind, a hint of bitterness flashed in my eyes. Originally, he is a person who has traveled over 2,000 years later. However, his journey is somewhat unique. Surprisingly, it directly crossed into the belly of Princess Tian of Qi, the wife of King Zhuangxiang of Qin, Ying Zichu, and became her fetus, becoming the third brother of King Zhuangxiang, who did not exist in history. Ying Che. Ying Che's eyes flickered. The name is exactly the same as in the previous life, even the appearance is exactly the same as the previous life. Just, for some unknown reason, for a full 17 years, I have never had memories of my past life, resulting in studying hundreds of classics for 17 years, but never practicing martial arts. This is a hard injury. After all, Ying Che was the younger brother of King Zheng of Qin and the prince of the state of Qin. He had some understanding of the world and was aware of the existence of martial arts. After careful recollection, Ying Che's face showed a strange expression. This world doesn't seem to be the real historical world. I seem to have not only been reborn, but also traveled through time. 100 schools of thought, a trap, a night curtain also. There are all kinds of delicious foods that were only found in previous lives in this world, as well as things like paper, books, brushes, and even stockings and high heels. It is obvious that I have passed through the anime world. For a while, Ying Che's heart became increasingly urgent. In this world, without martial arts, it is very unsafe. Although I am a prince of the Qin state, that's all. According to Ying Che's recollection, his mother in this lifetime was a princess of the state of Qi, and she had no influence in the state of Qin. The worst part is, her mother passed away due to illness 2 years ago. So now he is just a young master without any support. Ying Che couldn't help feeling a bit sad in his heart. I have never seen my parents in my past life, and I never expected that when my mother is still alive in this life, there will be no memories of my past life. Otherwise, maybe we can save our mother. Is it true that, is this fate? Well, it's okay. Now that I am 17 years old and have moved out of the Xianyang Palace, I have my own Gongzi Mansion, which makes it much easier for me to do anything. Based on one's heart, although he was not valued by King Zhuangxiang of Qin, also, due to the lack of influence of the Empress Dowager, she did not receive the same title as Chang'an Junsheng, but after Ying Zheng, the cheap prince, ascended the throne, he still treated himself quite well. From time to time, I would invite myself to the palace or personally visit the young master's mansion. From this perspective, Feng Jun is also a matter of time. As for now, even if Ying Zheng wanted to enfeoff the monarch, he was probably powerless. Ying Zheng is only 20 years old now, there is still 1 year left until pro-politics, the power was largely controlled by the Empress Dowager, AI, and LV Bue, he doesn't have the ability to be crowned as a ruler. Ding, it has been detected that the host's past life memory has been restored. The Dao Diary system is officially binding, please wait. Ding, the Dao Diary system has been successfully bound, and the Dao Diary notebook has been distributed. Please check it, host. As the words fell, a notebook appeared in Ying Che's hand, meanwhile, a message also enters the brain. Originally, this Dao Diary system earns rewards by writing diaries. Rewards are not just something from this world, but it contains all kinds of things in the heavens and realms below the main road. Fortunately, there is no requirement for the number of words in the diary, the only requirement is not to write blindly, and those who write blindly are not included in it. Ying Che. Write a diary. A serious person who writes a diary. Isn't this making it difficult for me, fat tiger? Are there rewards? It's okay then. I love writing diaries the most. After thinking about it, Ying Che opened his diary, however, but he couldn't help but fall into contemplation. It seems like I don't have a pen myself, how do I write it? Moreover, will it be seen by others? This idea has just emerged, the Dao Diary turned into a ray of light and flew into his eyebrows. Ying Che was stunned for a moment, in an instant, I felt the Great Dao Diary in the consciousness space. Moreover, a message reappears, originally, he doesn't need to write with a pen, and if he writes with a pen, he can't write it in the diary of the Dao, just think silently in your heart and you can write. In an instant, Ying Che realized it clearly, it is truly a diary of the Great Road, truly magical. Since they have all run into their own consciousness, then there's no need to worry about being seen by others. However, I have never written a diary and have no experience, how exactly should I write to avoid being blind? For a while, Ying Che fell into contemplation. After a long time, Ying Che had a sudden inspiration and silently organized himself in his heart. As Ying Che's thoughts emerged, the diary of the Dao in my consciousness slowly opened, and each handwriting slowly appeared on it. Chapter 2. A serious person who writes a diary. February 5th. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The tide of trust rises on the Qiantang River. Only today do we know that I am myself. After traveling for 17 years, I finally learned everything today. It turns out that my young master came from 2,000 years later and became the fetus in the mother's womb. Qin Wangzheng's third brother, the young master of Daqin, has a good status. It's a pity that I haven't regained my memory before. I've been studying hundreds of classics, but I've never practiced martial arts. In this world where the strength is so high that it explodes, I still don't feel secure. Alas, I just hope the system can give me some powerful rewards. Damn it, what kind of diary should I ask this young master to write? What kind of diary should a serious person write? Damn it, what will be written next? Headache. Got it. Now that Brother Wang is already 20 years old, according to historical records, within this year, the restless second prince of this young master seems to have volunteered to lead troops to attack Zhao under the deceit of Liu Bue and Lao Biden. Of course, this is superficial, but in reality, it is a conspiracy to rebel and want to get rid of Brother Wang and ascend to the throne on his own. Fortunately, it ultimately failed, and Qing Jiao also became one of the 8 Linglong Shenhou. Should I tell Brother Wang? Forget it, anyway, the relationship between me and Qing Jiao is already not good, let's just die. Besides, perhaps Qing Jiao has conspired with LV Bue now, but how could such a rebellion easily reveal its flaws? Even if I want to tell Brother Wang, it's useless without evidence, forget it, let's not get involved in this matter. Anyway, Brother Wang will be the first emperor to sweep away the 6 harmonies and unify the world in the future. He can't stir up any big waves just by becoming a spoiled woman. Young master, please rest assured to watch the play and wait for the opportunity. Speaking of which, LV Bue, the 8 Linglong under old Biden's command, is really unique. Although he has died, he has turned into a shockwave. This world is really interesting. Trapping. When Brother Wang takes power next year, that guy from the Yin Yang family will probably rebel. I remember that the people from the Yin Yang family will help Brother Wang at that time. After the fall of the virus, it naturally implicated LV Bue. At that time, LV Bue had a loophole and was quickly taken down by Brother Wang. Perhaps the young master could seize the opportunity to control the trap with a trap in place. The safety of this young master is greatly guaranteed. Unconsciously, it's almost 1,000 words already. I didn't expect that this young master is quite talented when it comes to writing diaries. Since that's the case, let's gather 1,000 words and talk about it. Well, since it's this world, let's write about the beauty of this world. Let me think. Yanfei, Yueshan, De Shiming, Xiao Siming, Yi Huang, En Yuing, Jingxian, Yanling Ji, Xinu, Nongyu, Princess Honglian, Lady Mingzhu, Hu Meiren, Lady Hu, Inga, Xuanu, Duanmu Rong, High Priest, Xiaoli. By the way, there is also a peerless genius named Xiaomeng from the Taoist heavenly sect. Well, it seems she's only a few years old now, and I don't know if she has met Beimingzi yet. I remember, when I was a child, she seemed quite pitiful. Should I go look for her and cultivate her directly? Sigh, I don't remember where she is either. Let's just forget it. Anyway, even if she hasn't met Beimingzi yet, it won't take long. Hiss. Countless, I don't know. I didn't expect there to be so many peerless beauties in this world. Speaking of which, is Li Wu among the 8 Linglong people or something? This world is so magical. After my young master, the cheap second prince, died, he became a shockwave among the 8 Linglong. Isn't the situation similar to the dance party, TSK? If that's the case, it would be a pity. Forget it, I don't want to. It's no use thinking about it now. After LV Bue falls down, go to Brother Wang's place and ask for the trap. Then you'll know. Moreover, not only Li Wu, but also Jing Xian is also a killer of the trap, and also a top-notch killer. When the time comes, they will have to obediently listen to my young master's words. Cough cough, finally 1,000 words. The system, where is the reward for this young master? Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the first diary. Reward settlement is underway, please wait. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining Dragon Divine Skill and 10. Your skill. May I ask if they have received it? Ying Che rolled his eyes. Nonsense. What can I keep it for without receiving it? Claim. As the words fell, a message flooded into Ying Che's mind, while at the same time, pure skills quickly flood into the body and operate in a mysterious way. After just a few breaths, Ying Che immersed himself in cultivation. Xianyang, Chuanyu Garden, in the elegant room on the second floor, Dongjun Yanfei, who was practicing yin and yang techniques, suddenly opened her eyes and looked at what suddenly appeared in her hand, her heart filled with surprise. What is this? The Dao Diary copy, exclusive to Concubine Yen, a diary. What is this? In this world, although there are many differences from real history, but ultimately, there is no concept of a diary. Yen Fei's eyebrows furrowed slightly, and after a moment of contemplation, finally decided to carefully examine this diary copy. See what it really is. However, before she could open it, the diary copy transformed into a ray of light and merged into her body. But the magic is, this diary seems to appear or disappear with her heart. For a while, Yen Fei's heart was filled with amazement. Originally, is there anything so magical in the world? How about someone investigate what exactly this is? This idea has just emerged, a terrifying aura descended upon her, and Yen Fei was terrified and quickly dispelled the thought. As Yen Fei dispelled this thought, the terrifying aura instantly dissipated, as if it had never appeared before. But Yen Fei still had lingering palpitations in her heart. This thing is terrifying and must not be told to anyone. Otherwise, it will die. Meanwhile, Moon God, Grand Minister of Rights, Black and White Deputy Minister of Rights, Empress E, Purple Lady, Startling Salamander, Nongyu, Red Lotus, Flame Spirit Concubine. A similar scene also appeared on many women in the Seven Kingdoms. Chapter 3. Dragon Divine Skill, One Step Innate. 3/5. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. After a moment, Yan Fei's heart twitched, the diary appeared in my hand. Without hesitation, slowly open her exclusive diary copy. A traveler. 2,000 years later. Chang'an Jun Qingjiao conspires to rebel. Is Changxin Marquis about to rebel next year when the Qin prince takes power? Will the Yin family still assist the king of Qin? And, in the future, the Qin king's government will sweep away the 6 states, unify the world, and become the first emperor. What is the first emperor? Are these things true or false? Yan Fei's eyebrows furrowed slightly, sinking into contemplation. The Eastern Emperor indeed had plans to cooperate with the state of Qin. Even the Yin family was moved from Chu to Lishan in Qin. Just, did Lord Donghuang ultimately choose King Qin instead of Lv Bui? The third brother of King Qin. A handsome figure flashed through Yan Fei's mind. Gongzi Che. He is indeed a gentle and kind person. Although she has never truly met Ying Che, since the Yin family wants to cooperate with the Qin state, the intelligence about important figures in the Qin state is naturally very comprehensive. As the third son of King Zhuangxiang of Qin and the third younger brother of King Zheng of Qin, Ying Che was naturally an important figure in the state of Qin. Moreover, she was ordered to conceal her identity and approach Prince Yan Dan, plotting to seize the secret of Canglong's 7 mansions. She has been in Xianyang for some time now. I occasionally hear people talking about Gongzi Che, and there are many praises among them. So, although she has never really met Gongzi Che, she still knows him quite well. What is recorded on this diary copy should be his diary. But, can anyone really cross over from 2,000 years later? If he really is a traveler, he probably knows many secrets, right? He wrote in his diary that his memory had been restored. Will his personality change as a result? Also, he mentioned the system and rewards. What is a system? Is it related to rewards? Yan Fei's beautiful eyes flickered, constantly pondering the connection in her heart. However, but I still can't figure out what connection there is between them. After a long time, Yan Fei's mind moved and she retrieved the diary copy from her mind. Her jade hand lightly tapped her tender white chin, sinking into contemplation. This young master, Chirua Zhen, has traveled here since 2,000 years ago. Will he know the secret of Canglong Qixio? Taoist heavenly sect. Outside the closed cave of Bimingzi, a white-haired girl, aged 8 or 9, slowly closed her diary and her eyes were filled with surprise and doubt. How could this young master of Qin know so much? Do you even know that she will become a disciple of her master? It's unreasonable. She has never seen him before. Or rather, is this young master of the Qin state really a traveler who crossed over from 2,000 years later? Thinking of the words in the diary copy, a faint smile appeared at the corner of the girl's mouth. Although I don't understand what cultivation is, but just because he had a plan to find her, she was full of goodwill towards the owner of this diary. I just don't know when I can meet him. Unfortunately, she is too young now. I'm afraid she won't be able to go to the state of Qin in the short term. The next morning, Ying Che woke up from his cultivation. I sensed the situation inside my body and my eyes were filled with joy. Thinking of the Dao Diary, Ying Che's mind moved and he started writing in his diary. Ha ha ha, it's truly a diary of the great road. The rewards are indeed abundant. In just one night, this young master crossed the realm of nurture and became an early-born expert. The martial arts practitioners in this world are divided into 9 levels. Postnatal, innate, master, great master, and celestial beings. As for the celestial beings, besides my own young master, there must be only a few strong celestial beings such as Eastern Emperor Tai, Xuanzi, Iguzi, and Beimingzi who have some understanding, right? Although innate, it may not be high, at least it has some self-protection power. Of course, what delighted me the most was Dragon Divine Art. This Dragon Divine skill is not simple. It was created by the Dragon God and is the most powerful martial art in the world. It is divided into 9 levels. This skill can fly in the air, transform the dragon shape to attack enemies, and can also drive away toxins, heal injuries, seize items, and protect the body. It is versatile and has infinite power. Moreover, the Dragon God technique encompasses everything, including the supreme lightness skill Thunder Shock Dragon, which can teleport hundreds of meters to the extreme, the powerful and domineering Pan Long 8 Swords, the invincible and invincible Dragon Cloud 32 Spear, the Shentian Rapid Wind Sword technique, and the secret technique of shocking dragon transformation that enhances power. By the way, in addition, there are also pure Yang Divine Arts and Purine Divine Arts that have evolved from Dragon Divine Arts, as well as light arts and ghostly shadows that are paired with Purine Divine Arts. However, with Dragon Divine skill, why bother practicing pure Yang Divine skill, young master? On the contrary, Purine Divine skill and Ghost Shadow are techniques that women practice, and are not limited by blood vessels. They can be taught to women. Well, it seems that besides the Qingning sister left by my mother's concubine, there seems to be no one else around me, right? Well, find an opportunity to teach it to Sister Qingning. She can be said to be the only person who truly treats me well. Tsk tisk, Hua Long, just think about it, and it's so delightful. Brother Wang was revered as the ancestral dragon in later generations, but in reality, he was ultimately a person. My young master can transform into a dragon with the help of Dragon Divine skill. If Brother Wang finds out, will he feel depressed and want to vomit blood? It's getting late too, let's get up quickly. First, go practice swordsmanship. Let's take a stroll around the city of Xianying later. Speaking of which, although I know about the situation in Xianying City, these are all in my memory. Since restoring my past life memories, I have never personally gone to see them. Let's go out for a good walk today. By the way, according to time calculations, the Yin Yang family should have already arrived in Daqin. I just don't know if Dongjun Yanfei, that silly and sweet person, has started to approach Yan Dan, that hypocritical guy. Tisk, it's a pity to think about it. The dignified and virtuous Yan Fei can be said to be the most suitable and perfect candidate for a legitimate wife. However, she is a silly and sweet person. Yan Dan has long been colluding with the Mo family and is the disciple of the Six-Finger Black Hero, as well as the heir of the Mo family. Her identity had long been known by Yan Dan, but Yan Fei foolishly thought Yan Dan didn't know, and even fell in love with this hypocritical guy, helping him escape from the Great Qin. Even in the future, he used the Six-Soul Fear curse to kill the Six-Fingered Black Hero for Yan Dan, and was eventually captured by the Eastern Emperor Tai himself and imprisoned in the Sakura prison. How could he end up with a tragic word? Speaking of which, Yan Fei was really harmed by that Yan Dan. If she hasn't been completely deceived yet, it's better to find an opportunity to remind her in secret. After all, the future Yin Yang family may have many purposes, but ultimately it will still be with the help of Brother Wang. Even the Moon God is still the protector of the Great Qin, so helping her is not impossible. Well, it's just a simple pity for her, it's not just greed, definitely not. Chapter 4. Yan Fei's Reaction, April 5th. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After stopping, Ying Che raised his eyebrows and asked, System, settle today's diary. Ding, the Dao Diary is settled every night. Can we only settle at night? Ying Che's eyes flickered, it seemed like it was indeed evening yesterday. The next moment, a message came. Ying Che's eyes flickered, although there is no word count requirement for a diary, but the more words a diary has, the richer the reward naturally becomes. Ying Che was somewhat surprised. At the same time, there is a little bit of happiness. So there are still such rules. Fortunately, when I wrote my first diary last night, I wrote more myself. Otherwise, I'm afraid I wouldn't have obtained such unparalleled martial arts as Dragon God technique, right? It's still morning, it's still early for tonight. Since that's the case, then there's no rush. Anyway, you can still keep a water diary, and the rewards will be slightly more generous when the settlement is made. Thinking of this, Ying Che completely dispelled the idea of settling accounts now. Get up and leave the room. Meanwhile, women from all over the 7 kingdoms, including Yan Fei, Moon God, Shocked Salamander, Flame Spirit Concubine, and Purple Maiden, have noticed something unusual coming from the diary copy in their minds and are checking it one after another. After learning everything, except for a few women from the Yin Yang family, all other women have a mentality of watching the excitement. After all, most of them don't know Yan Fei, and her affairs have nothing to do with them. However, for Ying Che, saying that Yan Fei is the most perfect choice for a legitimate wife has made many women feel a bit unhappy. They don't have much feelings for Ying Che, but Ying Che's words gave them a feeling of being inferior to Yan Fei, which made them very unhappy. Among the women, the most unhappy one is the moon god in the Lishan Mountains. From childhood to adulthood, Yan Fei has always been her competitor. I didn't expect this young Master Che to praise Yan Fei so much, which made her very unhappy. However, when she saw that Yan Fei had been deceived and even betrayed the Yin Yang family, and was eventually caught by the Eastern Emperor Tai, and she became the protector of the Qin state in the future, she couldn't help but smile on her face. Yan Fei, this time you have lost completely. On the other side, in a separate garden deep in the Lishan Mountains, 2 Qianying figures sat together, each holding a copy of their diary. Upon closer inspection, there was a slight difference. One book is exclusive to Empress Yi, while the other one is written in large characters exclusive to female heroes. Nu Ying looked at Empress Yi beside her and asked, "Sister, what do you think?" Empress Yi smiled lightly and said, "Sister, since both of us have this diary copy, it's possible that Lord Dongjun and Lord Moon God also have it. They may have seen what we saw. We sisters should wait and see how it changes." Upon hearing this, Nu Ying wrinkled her small nose and whispered, "Sister, what I'm saying is how should we choose? Don't forget, although De Siming is also very respectful to Lord Moon God, she is loyal to Lord Dongjun." Empress Yi smiled mysteriously and said, "Little sister, let's not express our attitude for now. If Lord Dongjun doesn't know about this, then naturally we will be people of Lord Moon in the future. But if Lord Dongjun is like us, he also has this thing. Will Lord Dongjun still be deceived?" Nu Ying quickly shook her head. If Dongjun knew the truth, how could she continue to be deceived? So, Lord Dongjun will not betray the Yin Yang family again. To be honest, she still tends to lean towards Dongjun in her heart. After all, Dongjun is the true heir of the Eastern Emperor. However, the sisters finally follow the Lord Luna or the Lord Dongjun. She doesn't want to make her own decisions. Let her sister decide. Sister, this diary copy is really amazing. Although we can communicate with each other, once we want to bring it up to outsiders, there is a fatal crisis that strikes. It's really amazing. Gongzi Che. I've heard of him and he's a graceful gentleman. Why don't we go quietly and meet him? After a moment of confusion, Yi Huang shook his head and said, "Little sister, you must not act recklessly. Now that Lord Donghuang has no orders, he must not act without authorization. If what this thing says is true, then Lord Moon God will eventually take us to Xianyang." Upon hearing this, Nu Ying felt a bit disappointed, but she nodded and said, "Okay, then let's listen to my sister." Xianyang City, Chuanyu Garden, in the midst of elegance, looking at the new content, Yan Fei's face became uncertain. Silly and sweet. Although I don't quite understand what it means, but at first glance, it's clear that this is not a good thing. How could this seat be silly and sweet? Defamation. It's just slander. Damn it. Young Master Che. Aren't you going out to stroll around? Today, I'll go see you and show you that I'm not such a fool. However, is Yan Dan really the disciple of the six-finger black hero? If it is true, then with the ability of the Mahist school, it is not difficult to find out her identity. Thinking of Yan Dan's humble and polite appearance in the past few days, Yan Fei hesitated in her heart. I don't know if I should believe the content here. However, when she thought that the future moon god might be the protector mage of the Qin state, and that she had betrayed the Yin Yang family, was caught by the Eastern Emperor Tai himself, and even imprisoned in the Sakura prison, Yan Fei couldn't help but feel a little nervous in her heart. It is better to believe in its existence than to believe in its absence. It seems that we should not see Yan Dan for now. First, investigate thoroughly. If what is said in this diary copy is true, then a chill flashed in Yan Fei's eyes. If these words are true, then she will show Yan Dan her methods. As for the task, she doesn't care anymore. If what Ying Che said is true, so Ying Che, the traveler, knows much more. Humph. The most perfect candidate for a legitimate wife. You have vision. However, dare you say that this seat is silly and sweet? Gongzi Che, you're so brave. Gongzi Mansion, in the inner courtyard, Ying Che is holding a bronze sword and practicing the Shantian Breeze sword technique. Not long after, a woman in her 20s, dressed in a sea blue wide-sleeved flowing fairy skirt with a graceful and extremely beautiful appearance, slowly walked over. With both hands clasped around his waist, he bowed to Ying Che Ying and said, "Young master, you have been practicing for a long time. Can you eat something first?" Ying Che stopped, put the bronze sword in its sheath, and walked slowly to the woman's side. He chuckled lightly and said, "Sister Qingming, you're here. Young master, it's time for you to have lunch." Ying Che nodded and said, "Okay, Sister Qingming, let's go together." Qingming nodded lightly and reached out to take the bronze sword from Ying Che's hand. She obediently followed him and slowly left the inner courtyard. In no time, Ying Che brought Qingming to the dining room. I saw several maids busy inside, and above the desk, many dishes and drinks have already been placed. Moreover, it's not just a simple stew, but a variety of stir-fried dishes. Even various ingredients that can only be seen in previous lives are available. Ying Che's corner of the eye twitched. It's really a anime. It's really strange. However, this is even better, at least in terms of diet. I won't get used to it anymore. Chapter 5. First Encounter with Concubine Yen, 5/5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Ying Che sat down, he found Qingming standing behind him and couldn't help but frown. "Qingming sister, you are the mother's consort who stayed by my side. In my heart, you are like my sister. Sit down and eat with me." "How can I sit with the young master? Don't make things difficult for me, young master." I said, "You're not a servant, you're my sister. Sit down." "Young master." "Sister Qingming, can't I keep my word?" Upon hearing this, Qingming pursed her lips and slowly sat opposite Ying Che. However, her body was tense, and her eyes occasionally looked around, clearly very nervous. Ying Che smiled lightly, picked up chopsticks, picked up some dishes, and placed them in the bowl in front of her. He gently said, "Sister Qingming, since my mother passed away, I have only had you as a family. Don't be nervous, it's okay." Qingming's heart warmed, and her gaze towards Ying Che became even softer. At noon, Ying Che left the Gongzi mansion alone and arrived in the city of Xianyang. Looking around, the street is wide, the buildings around are orderly, and the pedestrians on the road are also coming and going. Moreover, Ying Che was surprised to find that, all the pedestrians had rosy faces, and the streets were also very clean. If it weren't for the buildings around them that were in the style of the pre-Qin period, and the attire of most of the pedestrians was also normal pre-Qin clothing, they would have thought they had not crossed over. Looking at the various snacks sold on the nearby stalls, Ying Che couldn't help but feel a bit greedy. Subconsciously walked up to a small barbecue stall. "Objectively, would you like to buy some?" Ying Che nodded and said, Grill me a skewer of lamb, no. 2 skewers. The vendor's face lit up with joy and he quickly spoke up, okay. Objectively, please wait a moment. While speaking, the vendor took out 2 strands of freshly prepared lamb and grilled them over a charcoal fire. In no time, a charming sound came from the small stall. Ying Che couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Although he had traveled through time, as a young master of the Qin state, he had no worries about food and clothing, and could buy whatever he wanted to eat. Moreover, it was green and pollution-free, so there was no need to worry about technology and hard work. What do you want to eat? Ying Che. He suddenly thought of something. As a young master of the Great Qin, he has never been shopping or eating outside like he is today. Moreover, since the Empress Dowager arranged for Qingning to be by his side before her death, all the affairs of the prince's mansion have been arranged by Qingning. He doesn't seem to have any money with him. Ying Che quickly reached out to touch his pocket, empty and empty. In an instant, winning the muggle. It's hard for him to imagine what this vendor will think of him later. How could the grand young master of Qin eat the overbearing meal? If it spreads out, it will lead to the death of the society. Sister Qingning, please help, it's so miserable. It must be that street scammer from Liyue who affected me. I didn't bring any money when I went out and even bought something. It's really unfortunate now. Qingning sister, come and rescue your young master quickly. Otherwise, your young master will die in society not far away. A graceful woman wearing a light yellow palace dress with a white veil on her face paused for a moment before instinctively pausing. After a moment, the woman looked around curiously and soon discovered Ying Che standing in front of a barbecue stall. For a while, the woman's eyes were filled with a smile as she slowly walked towards Ying Che. After a moment, the woman approached the small stall and pretended to be surprised, looking at Ying Che and saying, Duke Che. Ying Che's eyes froze and he didn't care who the woman was. He quickly pulled her aside, frowned, and looked at the latter, asking, who are you? However, for some unknown reason, he always felt that this woman seemed somewhat familiar. However, in his memory, there is indeed no impression at all. The woman's eyebrows furrowed slightly, however, after thinking for a moment, he still didn't react and said softly, little girl Fei Yan has seen Prince Che. Fei Yan, isn't this the identity that Yan Fei fabricated to get close to Yan Dan, that hypocrite? So it's Empress Yan. No wonder I have an inexplicable sense of familiarity with her, even though I have never seen her before. That's why it has to be said that, Yan Fei is truly the best candidate for a legitimate wife in my young master's mind, and she is indeed very beautiful. More beautiful than described in the anime, and her temperament is also very perfect. She looks like a dignified and virtuous woman. Unfortunately, she was wearing a veil and couldn't see her specific appearance clearly. I didn't expect to meet her here. It's interesting. I don't know if she has fallen in love with Yan Dan now. If not, should I cut off my beard? To be reasonable, although I have never seen Yan Dan, with my young master's appearance and identity, I can never lose to that hypocrite. Well, what exactly are you overthinking? Young master, let's think carefully about what to do in the future. Although it's still early, I don't have any influence yet. We still need to quickly accumulate our own power, otherwise. De Qin. Sigh. However, Ying Che, who was focused on writing his diary, did not notice that Yan Fei's face, standing next to him, had become somewhat ugly. Silly white sweet, it's silly and sweet again. Damn it. Gongzi Che, why do you call me foolish? Yan Fei's words had not yet been spoken, and the suffocating feeling came again. In an instant, her heart was filled with shock. Can't even the person who wrote the diary, Ying Che, reveal half of it? What exactly is this? Is what Ying Che said true? Yes. Since Ying Che didn't even know she would see his diary, why did he write about deceiving himself? After thinking it through, Yan Fei's heart was completely in turmoil. Ying Che also regained his senses and looked at Yan Fei with some concern, asking, Miss Fei Yan, are you okay? Although he doesn't understand what happened, but he felt that Yan Fei seemed a bit strange. Yan Fei gently shook her head and said, "Thank you very much for your relationship, young Master Che." Fei Yan is fine. Master Che, I have one more thing to attend to, so I won't disturb you. As the words fell, Yan Fei turned around and left. After guessing the truth, she became disheartened and needed to be quiet. Ying Che was lost in confusion, but there was no obstruction. After all, he and she are only meeting for the first time now. Although he didn't know how Yan Fei recognized him, Ying Che didn't think much about it. Yan Fei is in the city of Xianyang. Perhaps she has seen her before, and the Yin Yang family is very mysterious. It doesn't seem strange to know her. By the way, I almost forgot. Miss Fei Yan, please wait a moment. Ying Che quickly caught up. Yan Fei was a bit puzzled and turned to look at Ying Che, her eyes full of doubts. Master Che, what's wrong? Ying Che sneered and said, Miss Fei Yan, I forgot to bring the money with me. Can you? Pushi. So it's like this, Fei Yan doesn't have much money on him either. Master Che, you can save some money. Speaking, Yan Fei took the money bag from her waist and handed it to Ying Che, afterwards, turn around and slowly leave. Chapter 6. Seeing Ying Zheng, being urged to get married. 1/5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you leaving now? She didn't even say where she lived, so isn't she afraid that the young master won't repay the money? Well, it doesn't seem necessary either. She must know where my son's mansion is. Besides, for her, this little money is nothing at all. Although I don't understand why she came to greet me, I want to thank her a lot this time. Otherwise, I'm afraid the news of young Master Che eating the king's meal tomorrow will spread throughout Xianyang, right? If there's a chance, just remind her in secret. If she were really deceived by that hypocrite Yan Dan, she would be a bit unwilling. I hope everything comes in time. After recording his thoughts in the diary of Dao, Ying Che took the money bag with a faint fragrance in his hand and turned to walk towards the small stall. On the other side, after seeing the content above the diary copy, Yan Fei's heart warmed, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. She murmured softly, Actually, you have already reminded me, foolish Mr. Che. That's right. After getting to know Ying Che, combined with the contents of his diary, Yan Fei's evaluation of him is a bit foolish. However, it's also quite cute. At least, she doesn't dislike contact with him. In the evening, Ying Che returned to the young master's mansion, and Qingning quickly found him. Young master, you have finally returned. Someone came to the palace half an hour ago. Please hurry into the palace, young master. The king has something to ask you for. Ying Che raised his eyebrows and nodded, saying, Okay, I'll go into the palace now. Qingning, please rest early. Young master, it's already late now. Why don't you have something to eat before going? Hee hee. No need, Sister Qingning, you can eat it yourself. I have already eaten something outside. Brother Wang sent someone to summon me. I think there's something I need to command. I'll go to the palace first. As the words fell, Ying Che turned around and walked away quickly. Although Ying Che's mansion is outside the Xianyang Palace, but it's not far from Xianyang Palace. However, the Xianyang Palace is very large, several times larger than the former Forbidden City. When Ying Che arrives at Gongquan Palace, where Ying Zheng usually handles government affairs, it's already an hour later. This is still the result of his cultivation, otherwise, it would take even more time. Standing outside the Gongquan Palace, Ying Che tidied up his clothes and walked in step. Come inside, Ying Zheng was sitting on a soft couch, reviewing memorials, and beneath him sat a handsome young man. Ying Che's eyes flickered, isn't this Qing Jiao, the cheap second prince brother who is 1 year older than him? Why is he also here? However, Ying Che didn't think much. After all, Ying Zheng treated him and Qing Jiao quite well, and it seemed that Qing Jiao was not impossible. I pay my respects to Brother Wang and have met Brother Heir Wang. Ying Zheng lifted his head and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Third brother, you finally came. Sit down, he said, but Qing Jiao just nodded calmly without saying anything, and even Ying Che vaguely felt that Qing Jiao seemed to have some hatred. However, knowing what this guy would do in the future, he didn't pay much attention. Instead, he sat down at a desk and asked, I don't know if Brother Wang called me. What orders do you have? Third brother, Qin and Zhao are enemies of the world. When I ascended the throne, Zhao joined forces with Han, Wei, Yan, and Chu to attack the Great Qin. Now, I plan to send a large army to attack the state of Zhao. Lord Chang'an voluntarily volunteered to lead the army to attack Zhao, and I have agreed. I asked you to come this time, third brother, to become second brother's deputy and assist him in attacking Zhao. What do you think, third brother? Ying Che's eyes fixed. How could Ying Zheng let him lead the army together? That's not right. It shouldn't be like this. Oh, that's right too. Originally, whether in anime or real history, there was no such thing as Ying Che, the Great Qin young master. Nowadays, I am the third brother of Ying Zheng, so it is normal for him to consider himself. Perhaps, in Ying Zheng's view, my trip this time is to follow Qing Jiao and make some military achievements, paving the way for future enfeoffment. After all, he is different from Qing Jiao. Qing Jiao's mother is a princess of the state of Chu, supported by the Chu clique, while he is different. His mother's consort is a princess of the state of Qi, and there is no backstage in the Great Qin dynasty. Just, Qing Jiao is not honest at all, he is going to rebel. Do you want to get involved? After pondering for a moment, Ying Che nodded and said, since Brother Wang has given orders, I will obey them. Ying Zheng nodded in satisfaction and said, very good. Don't worry, third brother. Second brother will protect you well this time. Brother Wang promised you that after you return from the expedition against Zhao, I will definitely give you what you deserve. Ying Che let out a slight sigh in his heart. Sure enough, Ying Zheng is indeed going to pave the way for him to be crowned as a ruler. Brother Wang's intentions are clear to me, but I don't really care. Nonsense. You are my younger brother, how could you just be a young master? Unfortunately, I haven't been in power yet. Otherwise, I don't need you to take risks, third brother. Third brother, the army will depart in 3 days. Please prepare well these days. Ying Che nodded helplessly and said, don't worry, Brother Wang. I will prepare carefully. Prepare? What are you preparing? This time, the army will never reach the border of Zhao. If he remembers correctly, Qing Jiao led the army to Tunliu and began to rebel. Qing Jiao's face turned black beside her, and she was filled with suspicion and uncertainty. Ying Zheng wants to arrange for Ying Che to come in. Did he find something? No. Absolutely impossible. His plan is seamless, and with Ying Zheng's current strength, it is impossible to discover it. Just, having an extra Ying Che makes it a bit difficult to handle. Anyway, let's see Ying Che's attitude later. If Ying Che is willing to submit to him, he can save his life. Otherwise, no wonder he is. Of course, neither Ying Zheng nor Ying Che paid attention to Qing Jiao's thoughts. The main matter has already been discussed. Ying Zheng became concerned about Ying Che's life and looked at him with a smile, saying, third brother, I remember you're already 17 now, right? Ying Che nodded and looked at Ying Zheng with some confusion, not understanding what he was saying. Third brother, I ascended the throne at the age of 13 and now have 3 wives, even Fusu is 4 years old. My second younger brother now also has children. Third brother, should you consider your marriage now? I have portraits and introductions of princesses of appropriate age from various countries here. Would you like to take them to see, third brother? Ying Che sneered and said, my younger brother Wang is still young, so this matter is not urgent. Moreover, I want to find a woman who is compatible with my younger brother. I hope you can fulfill it. This. Ying Zheng shook his head helplessly and said, okay, then let's follow what third brother said. Cough cough, the true identity of Qin San Shizhi Ying is not very clear to me, so I will make him the son of Qing Jiao in this book. Don't worry. Chapter 7. Female Reactions, 2/5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You have died young. I was actually urged by Brother Wang to get married. This is really outrageous. I'm still so young, why rush? Besides, since we have all traveled, how can we not go and see the beauty of this world? Unless Brother Wang, if you can issue an order to betroth Concubine Yen to me, then I can still consider it. However, it's obviously impossible. Now the Yin Yang family has not started cooperating with Brother Wang, and Brother Wang still cannot control the Yin Yang family. Moreover, although Yen Fei is silly and sweet when dealing with emotions, she is not foolish at other times. Maybe if Brother Wang issues a decree, they will just run away. By comparison, it is still possible for the Moon God or the Red Lotus. The Moon God in the future is the protector of the Great Qin, who often visits the royal palace. Even Brother Wang has specially built a national teacher's mansion in the future. If this young master can collude with the Moon God, it may still be possible to deceive her. As for the Red Lotus, Brother Wang has prepared portraits of princesses from various countries, so I believe she should also be there. She should be a little younger than me, but it's not impossible. Compared to the charming and poisonous Red Lian after the destruction of Korea by the Qin dynasty, I still prefer the cute Red Lotus princess who is now a fairy. Not right. What is this young master thinking? I'm still so young now, let's not think about these anymore. Brother Wang asked me to become Qing Jiao's deputy general in 3 days and lead the army against Zhao together. Qing Jiao will definitely force my young master for her own great cause. How should I respond then? By the way, I don't know if Li Wu is hiding by Qing Jiao's side now. If she is, the young master wants to see if she is a person or something. After leaving Xianyang Palace and returning to Gongzi Mansion, the sky has completely darkened. Ying Che returned to the room and continued writing his diary. After adding a lot of words, Ying Che satisfactorily put away the Dao's diary and looked forward, saying, "System, settle the diary." Ding, today's diary settlement is in progress, please wait for the host. Ding, settlement successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10 years of skill, 1 wash marrow pill, and 1 great master experience card. May I ask if you want to claim them? Ying Che's face showed a joyful expression. 10 years of skill and experience card for a great master. That's really good. There is also a marrow washing pill, which is also good. Although he doesn't need this thing if he has a system, but giving lime is still good. She was left to him by his mother, the person he trusted the most and the only one he could fully trust. However, she seems to be 23 years old now and has already missed the best age for practicing martial arts. With the help of the wash marrow pill, it's not difficult for her to cultivate. Just, how long can this great master experience card last? At the next moment, a message came. This Grandmaster experience card is a disposable item that can last for a day once used. Ying Che's heart was filled with joy, all day long. That's really good. System, claim rewards. Ding, reward distribution in progress, please wait for the host. As the words fell, 3 rays of light appeared out of thin air, 2 rays of light directly integrated into Ying Che's eyebrows. The next moment, a continuous stream of true qi is emerging in the body. Ying Che dared not delay and quickly used the dragon divine skill to refine the true qi that appeared. And another ray of light transformed into a white jade bottle, quietly placed beside Ying Che. However, at this moment, Ying Che had no time to attend to it. At this moment, he is fully focused on operating the dragon divine skill, refining his 10-year power. With the passage of time, his cultivation has also rapidly improved. On the other side, after seeing the updated content in the diary copy, most of them did not react and completely treated themselves as outsiders. Of course, they are indeed just outsiders. Only 4 parties are different. Yen Fei felt very depressed when she saw Ying Che saying that she was foolish and sweet again. She was the first extraordinary woman in the yin-yang technique and the Eastern ruler of the yin-yang family. How could she possibly be foolish and sweet? Does this somewhat foolish young Master Che have any prejudice against her? While constantly saying that she is foolish and sweet, and thinking that she will marry him, how could there be such a good thing in the world? Unfortunately, this is what Ying Che wrote in her diary and cannot be revealed. Although she was feeling depressed in her heart, she couldn't control it. Compared to Yan Fei's depression, the moon god in Lishan did not have much reaction. Even, she is still a little happy. Throughout, she is all competing with Yan Fei, yesterday and today, although Ying Che occasionally said that Yan Fei was a silly and sweet woman, but between the lines, it all reveals his love for Yan Fei. Even constantly trying to remind Yan Fei to prevent her from being deceived. This gave her a feeling that she couldn't compare to Yan Fei. But now it's different, Ying Che actually wants to seduce himself and make himself his wife. Although she doesn't think she will fall in love with someone, but it cannot be denied that this has brought a lot of balance to her heart. She is definitely not weaker than Yan Fei. Gongzi Che. The light purple eyes beneath the pale purple veil of the moon god were filled with a smile, and he murmured softly, based on my understanding of the Eastern Emperor, I believe it won't be long before I send you to Xianyang. I want to see how you can get along with me. Xinzheng, the palace of the King of Han, in the palace of Princess Honglian, Red Lotus clung to her tender white chin and looked at the diary in front of her, her face turning red and her heart filled with shyness. Damn it. This damn Ying Che. I actually want to marry this princess, it's just a dream. This princess wouldn't marry you. Humph. However, will South Korea be annihilated by Qin? The Red Lotus eyebrows furrowed slightly, will South Korea be destroyed by the state of Qin? Yes, it is. At the beginning, Ying Che mentioned that, King Qin will unify the world, and South Korea cannot be spared. This diary copy is very magical, and no one can see it except for her. And she can't tell anyone either. Ying Che surprisingly has such a magical thing. I think he is really a traveler, and his words should also be true. Besides, Ying Che may not have known that his diary would be seen by her, so there is no need to lie. Just, will I become a charming and vicious woman in the future? Impossible, right? I shouldn't even think about it, right? Xianyang, Chang'an-jun Mansion, in a certain room, Li Wu, dressed in a tight purple dress, couldn't help but feel a bit amused as she mentioned herself again in her diary. What exactly is this young Master Che thinking? What else can she be if she's not human? What exactly did he know that he would suspect he was not human? In 3 days. When the time comes, she will take a good look and see what kind of person this young Master Che is. Chapter 8. Breakthrough again, passing on the merit. 3/5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Half an hour later, Ying Che finished his cultivation and slowly opened his eyes. I carefully felt my cultivation, a happy expression appeared on his face, innate peak, really good. Moreover, with the power of the dragon divine art, even if he encounters an expert in the Grandmaster realm, he is not afraid at all. Now he finally has the power to protect himself. Soon, Ying Che noticed the white jade bottle beside him and his eyes flickered. Is this the wash marrow pill? What about the Grandmaster experience card? Ding, the Great Master experience card has been integrated into the host's body and can be used at any time. Ying Che was taken aback for a moment, followed by a hint of smile. Is it inside the body? This is a good way to handle it, in this way, there is no need to worry about losing it. System, can I view my properties? Ding. Host. Ying Che age. 17 skill. Dragon divine skill cultivation. Innate peak items. Grandmaster experience card. Wash marrow pill *1 looking at the light blue screen in front of him, Ying Che's mouth twitched, this property panel is really concise. However, it's pretty good too. Turning his head to look at the sky, he realized it was already quite late. Ying Che also gave up the idea of finding Qingning. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Anyway, he won't leave Xianyang until 3 days later. All he needs to do is teach Qingning the purine divine art and the ghost shadow of the underworld before leaving. Now, let's go to bed first. The next morning, Ying Che had just woken up from his sleep when he noticed something was wrong. When he opened his eyes, he saw a graceful figure standing in the room. After seeing the appearance of the newcomer clearly, Ying Che blinked in confusion and asked, "Sister Qingning, why did you come?" Qingning smiled lightly and said, "Young master, are you awake? Breakfast is ready, I'll serve you and dress up." Ying Che. Ying Che smiled faintly, but did not refuse. With the help of Qingning, he got up and dressed neatly, leaving the room with her. After the two had breakfast, Ying Che pulled Qingning back into the bedroom, took out the white jade bottle, and placed it in her soft little hand. "Young master, what is this?" "Miss Qingning, open it and take a look." Upon hearing this, Qingning was a bit puzzled, but she still opened the white jade bottle. In an instant, a strong aroma came from the bottle, and she couldn't help but take a deep breath. "Young master, what is this thing?" "Hee. Sister Qingning, this is the wash marrow pill, it's a gift from me to you." "Wash marrow pill?" Qingning shook her head in confusion, not knowing what the wash marrow pill was. Without explanation, Ying Che whispered, "Take it, it will benefit you." The latter's eyes flickered. Although she didn't understand what the wash marrow pill was, she didn't hesitate, poured out the wash marrow pill inside, and then swallowed it directly. She believes that the young master will not harm her. Moreover, she is the servant of the young master. Even if the young master asks her to die, she has no regrets or grievances. The next moment, Qingning's eyes darkened and she fainted directly. Seeing this, Ying Che was shocked in his heart and quickly reached out to embrace her, but his heart was filled with confusion. "How could you faint? It shouldn't be." After thinking for a moment, Ying Che walked to the tatami bed with Qingning in his arms, gently placing her on it. He reached out and rested his hand on her fair wrist, using his martial arts skills to examine the latter's condition. After a moment, Ying Che quietly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Qingning is not doing much, and the wash marrow pill is rapidly changing her qualifications. In no time, Ying Che smelled a slight odor and lowered his head to see a hint of dirt on his fair and green skin. Ying Che smiled lightly and got up to leave the room. It seems that Qingning needs a good wash after waking up. Before she wakes up, he should go and have the maid prepare hot water and change clothes for her first. This can also avoid awkwardness when she wakes up. After an hour, Qingning walked out of Ying Che's bedroom with a flushed face, feeling even more shy when she saw Ying Che waiting not far away. Ying Che smiled lightly at the corner of his mouth and walked over quickly. "Sister Qingning, how do you feel when you wake up?" "Young master, I. Qingning only felt like she was about to die of shame at this moment. "I didn't expect her to become so dirty, it's really unbelievable. For a while, she doesn't even know how to face Ying Che, it's really embarrassing." Seeing this, Ying Che chuckled and said, "Sister Qingning, you don't have to worry. The only function of the wash marrow pill you took before was to wash tendons and cut marrow, enhancing your qualifications." Qingning was stunned for a moment, then looked up at Ying Che in confusion and said, "Young master, how can you give me such a precious pill?" "Because you are my only family. Sister Qingning, I have something else to give to you. Follow me." "Hey." Seeing Qingning staring foolishly at himself, Ying Che's mouth twitched. She is unexpectedly cute now. Without hesitation, he pulled Qingning and walked towards his study. There are two mental techniques, Purine Divine Skill and Ghost Shadow of the Underworld, that Qingning wrote down silently when he was asleep before. Today, let's strike while the iron is hot and let Qingning start practicing. Ying Che doesn't need her to be so powerful. No matter how hard she tries, she can't compare to him who cheats. He only needs Qingning to protect himself when he is not at home. In no time, Ying Che pulled Qingning into the study and handed over the Purine Divine Skill and Ghost Shadow on the desk to her. She whispered, "Sister Qingning, these two skills are what I want to give you. You should practice them seriously, and I will guard you here." Looking at the two secret books in her hand, Qingning quickly shook her head and said, "Young master, I'm just a servant. How could I possibly cultivate young master's martial arts? Young master, please take it back quickly. As long as I can always follow the young master and take care of his daily life, I will be satisfied." Ying Che smiled lightly and said, "Sister Qingning, I have already said that in my heart, you are my only family, not a servant. As for these two martial arts, only women can cultivate them, and men cannot cultivate them. Besides, once a martial arts practitioner reaches a certain level of cultivation, their lifespan will increase. Isn't Sister Qingning wanting to stay by my side forever? If you don't work hard to cultivate, you can't do it. And, Miss Qingning, perhaps you have heard of the 100 schools of thought. As the young master of Daqin, those masters who hate Daqin may come against me in the future. Didn't Sister Qingning think about protecting your young master?" Upon hearing this, Qingning pursed her lips and nodded forcefully, "Young master, I understand. Don't worry, I will definitely work hard to cultivate and not disappoint your expectations. Is this my good sister? Sister Qingning, please remember the mental techniques of these two martial arts first, and I will guide you to practice later." The latter nodded and sat down on the side, earnestly flipping through the two martial arts secrets written by Ying Che. Chapter 9. Young Master Che, we will soon meet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few minutes later, Qingning put down the secret script in her hand, and Ying Che blinked in confusion before saying, "Qingning sister, why don't you continue reading?" The latter smiled lightly and said, "Young master, servant. I have already memorized the mnemonic of Purine Divine Skill. As for the other part, I want to practice it later." Ying Che looked at her with some surprise, his eyes filled with a look of surprise. "I only looked at it once and actually remembered it. Qingning surprisingly has an unforgettable ability. This is a great surprise. Sister Qingning, then try practicing. If there's anything you don't understand, I'll help you solve it." Qingning nodded lightly and sat cross-legged on the carpet, closing her eyes to silently comprehend the Purine Divine Skill. However, she quickly opened her eyes and shook her head in some distress. Although possessing unforgettable skills, but after all, I have never been exposed to martial arts, so there are naturally many things I don't understand. Ying Che didn't have any impatience and carefully explained her doubts. Finally, under the careful guidance of Ying Che, she successfully operated the Purine Divine Skill and immersed herself in cultivation. Looking at Qingning immersed in cultivation, Ying Che smiled lightly and walked slowly to the desk to sit down, silently waiting for her to wake up. But soon, Ying Che's mind drifted away. After a moment of contemplation, a thought moved and Dao's diary came to mind. He was about to start drinking not right. It's time to write a diary. I haven't gone out yet today, so I stayed at home to guide green lemon cultivation. What should I write? Qing Jiao. No need. That guy can't succeed. Why not? In 2 days, we will be leading the troops to set off. I think Qing Jiao should have planned it long ago. However, it's not a concern that he can't succeed. Speaking of which, Brother Wang will be in power next year. Zhao Ji hurriedly went to Yongcheng a while ago. It seems that she couldn't keep it hidden, so she had to leave Xianyang and run to Yongcheng. Right next year, when Brother Wang takes power, he will go to Yongcheng and take advantage of this opportunity to rebel. If I remember correctly, the Yin Yang family will help Brother Wang. I don't know when the Yin Yang family will come to cooperate with Brother Wang. Yan Fei has already seen it. It is indeed very beautiful. What about the moon god? This young master is quite curious. I just don't know exactly when the Yin Yang family started working with Brother Wang. I don't think it will last long, right? Anyway, it must have been before Brother Wang personally took power. My young master is currently in a lewd state of development. If nothing unexpected happens next year when Brother Wang takes power, I should also go. It's better to protect him then, so that he won't be so embarrassed. If there's even a chance, just kill the bubonic toxin. Once AI dies, Brother Wang will not be trapped in Yong City for more than a month like before. Hee. I believe Brother Wang will definitely be grateful to my young master. By then it will be much easier to demand a trap from Brother Wang after he uses the situation of AI to force LV Bue to gradually relinquish his power. After catching the trap, I will have the startled salamander come to protect me personally, which must be very interesting. Speaking of which, I remember one time when the startled salamander was on a mission, he seemed to have a daughter, and even betrayed the trap for that daughter. If I remember correctly, it seems that she was forced to join the peasant family and her daughter, also named Tian Yan. Unfortunately her daughter also did not escape fate, inheriting her startled salamander sword and becoming the new startled salamander. Well, if she is willing to be my son's personal guard, I can fulfill her wish to no longer be a killer. After all, Brother Wang doesn't like the great killing tool of the trap, but I must have it in my hands. We can't let the trap fall into the hands of that monk Zhao Gao. Without a trap, I want to see how you still make waves. I will kill you sooner or later. Speaking of which, I don't know if the startled salamander has gone on that mission now. If it has already been executed, it would be a pity. Although I admire beautiful women, as a wife, let's forget about it. Lishan, the Yin Yang family, Luo Xingtang, the moon god, stood in the hall, looking at the figure in front of him in a black robe with some confusion. He asked, "Do you know what instructions the Eastern Emperor has for me to come?" The Emperor's star has appeared, and the opportunity for the Yin Yang family to wait has arrived. Moon God, you will immediately take to Siming, Yi Huang, and then Yuing to Xianying to express our intention to cooperate with the Yin Yang family and help the King of Qin. Upon hearing the mechanical sound, the moon god's eyes flickered. She noticed that the diary copy had been updated and was currently watching it. Unexpectedly, Emperor Tai summoned her. Moreover, it turned out to be a matter of cooperation with the state of Qin. How could it be so coincidental? Did Lord Donghuang know about the diary copy? No. Impossible. The diary copy cannot be exposed. Perhaps the Yin Yang family has been in contact with the King of Qin since now. Thinking of this, the moon god nodded and said, "Yes, the moon god will go back and prepare. Tomorrow, he will take the three elders to Xianyang." The latter is not talkative, and their figure slowly dissipates. Seeing this, the moon god no longer stayed and turned around to leave. After leaving the Luoxing hall, the moon god smiled lightly and murmured softly, "Young Master Che, we will meet soon." After the departure of the moon god, the figure of Emperor Tai appeared again in the Luoxing hall, with a diary in his hand. Looking at the large characters above, she fell into contemplation. A traveler. It seems that there will be many variables in the world. I wonder if he can figure out the reason why those ancient alchemists mysteriously disappeared. This time, her voice is no longer so mechanical, difficult to distinguish between men and women, but very clear and pleasant to the ear. Like a young girl. State of Qi, within the city of Linzi, in an inn, the startled salamander, who had just completed an assassination mission, looked at the diary copy in his mind and a hint of shame and anger flashed in his eyes. This young Master Che actually asked her to protect him personally. It doesn't seem like any kind words at all. However, at this point, she was also tired of endless assassinations. If we can stop being a killer and protect him personally, it seems not impossible. As for the statement that she will have a daughter in the future and will betray the trap because of her daughter, she is skeptical of her beliefs. After all, she is aware of the terror of the trap, and it is hard to imagine that she will betray the trap in the future. Besides, as a killer, how could she have emotions? Not to mention having a daughter. It's not even possible to think about it. However, is it true that this young Master Che's statement is so detailed? Thinking that he would face the pursuit of a trap in the future, and even his daughter could not escape the trap, the startled salamander couldn't help but shiver. No way. This kind of thing is too terrifying. Absolutely not. Isn't it just being the personal guard of Ying Che? I have agreed. She didn't believe it anymore. If she didn't want to, Ying Che would do anything to her regardless of the young master's face. Thinking of this, the startled salamander also had no intention of resting, quickly packed up his things and left. She wants to return to Xianyang as soon as possible and find a way to stop going out to carry out tasks before Ying Che takes charge of the trap. Alternatively, get out of the trap directly. Before, she couldn't see any hope, but now there is a glimmer of hope. Cough cough, thank you very much for the monthly tickets, flowers, and rewards from the big shots. Thank you very much, little brother. Chapter 10. Yan Fei angered, Yan Dan defeated. May 5th. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xianyang, Chuanyu Garden. Yan Fei looked at the diary copy in her hand, but a voice came from outside the door. Lord Dongjun, the matter you want to investigate has been traced. Upon hearing this, Yan Fei's eyes flickered and the diary copy in her hand disappeared instantly. She said calmly, "Come in." As the words fell, a woman in a white long shirt pushed open the door and walked slowly in, respectfully saying, "Goodbye, Lord Dongjun. Excuse me, do you have any clues about what I asked you to investigate?" Your Excellency Dongjun, according to my subordinate's investigation, Yan Dan did indeed have close contact with people from the Mo family, suspected to be from the Mo family. And, I have received news that the Mahist giant has secretly arrived in Xianyang and seems to be planning something. Also, my subordinate's companion went to the Proton Mansion last night to test and was severely injured by Yan Dan. The martial arts used by Yan Dan are exactly the Mahist martial arts. Yan Fei took a deep breath and waved her hand to signal the woman to step back. The latter dared not disobey and quickly turned around and left her room. After the door closes, Yan Fei's face suddenly became gloomy. At this moment, she didn't understand anything yet, she was really deceived. Unfortunately, she had always thought that Yan Dan didn't know her identity and that she was deceiving Yan Dan. Unexpectedly, the person who was deceived was actually herself. Damn it! This Yan Dan is such a deep city. At this moment, she firmly believed in what was said in Ying Che's diary. Now, she's completely angry. Thinking of the future mentioned in her diary, Yan Fei felt both angry and grateful in her heart. It's okay, fortunately, she obtained a copy of her diary, knew everything, and had a sense of defense. Otherwise, she might have been fooled around by Yan Dan. Ying Che is indeed right, Yan Dan is a hypocrite. Everything before was his disguise. For a while, Yan Fei couldn't help but grit her teeth. You can't just let Yan Dan go like this. He must pay the price. As for her task, she can no longer afford it. After going back, she was scolded by the Eastern Emperor Tai. She doesn't want to face that disgusting hypocrite anymore. At this moment, Yan Fei felt someone coming from outside, quickly withdrew her thoughts, and her expression returned to calm. She sat dignified on the soft couch. After a few breaths, a figure appeared outside the door. Miss Fei Yan, young Master Yan Dan has arrived. I wonder if Miss Fei Yan wants to see him. Yan Fei's eyes froze. Is Yan Dan here again? Just right. So she won't have to go find him on her own. Is Prince Yan Dan here? Please invite him in. Upon hearing this, the figure turned around and left. Not long, a steady sound of footsteps came. Yan Fei's eyes flickered. She hadn't paid attention before, but now she noticed, the footsteps of the newcomers were almost identical, indicating that they were only experts. And now only Yan Dan can come. Yan Fei's eyes flashed with a murderous intent. How dare you lie to her? You're really looking for death. After a moment of contemplation, Yan Fei still gave up her plan to directly kill Yan Dan. Now Yan Dan is ultimately a proton. If he dies in the state of Qin, then there will inevitably be conflicts between the Qin and Yen states. When investigated, she will definitely be found, which is not conducive to the cooperation between the Yin-Yang family and the Qin state. However, although we cannot directly kill Yen Dan, but it can depose him. She is Empress Yen of Dongjun, not a person who is soft-hearted or easy to provoke. If you dare to deceive her, you must bear the corresponding consequences. Soon, a tall figure appeared outside the door. Yen Dan has arrived. However, he did not directly push the door in. Instead, he tidied up his clothes, reached out and knocked on the door, asking, "Miss Fei Yen, I have come to listen to the girl play the piano again. I wonder if I can come in." Yen Fei took a deep breath and silently turned her soul to Dragon's Journey. She said calmly, "The door is not locked, come in." Upon hearing this, Yen Dan was delighted in her heart, but she still managed to control her emotions and gently pushed open the door. However, as soon as Yen Dan pushed open the door, he sensed a deadly threat. Looking up, he saw a three-legged golden crow rapidly attacking. Yen Dan's eyes froze. Without considering anything else, he quickly activated the Mo school technique and welcomed it with a palm. Bomb! A loud bang came, the door was shattered. After holding on for 1 or 2 seconds, Yen Dan suddenly flew backwards and slammed heavily onto the corridor outside the room. Puff! Yen Dan spat out a mouthful of blood, filled with anger in his heart. He slowly stood up and glared angrily at Yen Fei, who walked out of the room slowly. He said in a deep voice, "Miss Fei Yen, what do you mean by this?" Yen Fei has no intention of talking nonsense to Yen Dan. The dragon wandering qi within the body transformed into a lingering shadow and quickly attacked Yen Dan. Yen Dan's face changed greatly, and she didn't care about anything else. She quickly activated the true qi in her body to counterattack. However, although Yen Dan has become a disciple of the six-finger black hero, his cultivation speed is naturally not fast, and now he is only in the middle stage of his innate nature because his heart is only a disguise, and he is only a jealous and selfish hypocrite in his heart. Yen Fei, however, is the most extraordinary woman in Yin and Yang techniques. She excels in Yin and Yang techniques and her cultivation level is even higher than that of the six-finger black hero. She is already a master in the middle stage of her master's career. How could Yen Dan possibly be the opponent of Yen Fei? With just a few moves, Yen Dan was severely injured by Yen Fei and lay on the ground unable to move. Looking at Yen Dan lying on the ground motionless and continuously spitting out blood, Yen Fei smiled coldly and said calmly, "Mo family mind technique. You are indeed a disciple of the Mahist school. How dare you deceive me? You're really looking for death." Upon hearing this, Yen Dan's heart was filled with grief and indignation, and she trembled and said, "How dare you hurt my young master? You are so reckless. Yen Fei, I won't let you go." Yen Fei's eyes turned cold and she said calmly, "Just a proton from the Yen kingdom. Would this seat be afraid of you? If you want revenge, I am always waiting." As she spoke, Yen Fei slowly walked up to Yen Dan and used her internal power to strike towards Yen Dan's dantian with her palm. Ah! A scream came from Yen Dan's mouth, and under the intense pain, he could no longer hold on and fainted directly. Yen Fei gave a cold smile and turned around to slowly leave. Now Yen Dan's dantian has been destroyed by her, and he has become a useless person after losing all his martial arts skills. Her task is naturally impossible to complete. But she doesn't care. Yen Dan is not the only one who knows about the 7 mansions of the Azure Dragon. In contrast, she is more interested in Ying Che. There is a diary copy available. She was not worried about being deceived by Ying Che, and she had a premonition in her mind. The secret of diary copies is not as simple as it appears now. However, Ying Che will soon leave Xianyang, and it is not appropriate to find him now. Moreover, since the task has already failed, she still needs to return to the Yin Yang family first, no matter what.